Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a computer programming instructor, and today I'm going to continue on a demo of Pandas that I worked on for my class. And so what we had done is we had found a CSV file that had the pollen history count for Albuquerque. And it's got a number of, it's got the date where the reading was made. It's got, actually it looks like this one is kind of interesting. Let's open this with Notepad. So we can see that we have a reading date, a location, a pollen name, the type of tree, and then the reading value. And it's a tab delimited file. And we were able to read it by using Pandas' built-in CSV reader, but we specify that the separator is a tab. And so we were able to get our data. We then use Pandas to just pull out the pollen names and the reading values, and got their readings with the locations here. And so maybe what we'll do is, and then we filtered just on juniper cedar. So we've got the juniper cedar information. So maybe we'll try to graph this and see what it looks like. So I'm going to continue on in here, and let's see, just so that I know what I have at the bottom here. I'm going to print juniper cedar and see what we get. Oh, okay, so we need to run all these. So I'm going to run all. It'll take a little bit. But we need to update all of the information. So I'll run this, and then when we get back, we'll have all of these run. Okay, so now it's it's run, and we've got our list here. You know, I think we're going to want to have the date in there, and we don't really need pollen name. So I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to in fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this to preserve the old one. And I think what we want is we're going to get pollen. And I think what we want to do here with the overall pollen one is we want to do our filter first. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to take the pollen And we're going to filter out everything that's not juniper cedar. And so let's run that. So now we have all the columns for juniper cedar. I don't really need juniper cedar in here anymore because, well, this whole thing is juniper cedar. So maybe what I'll do is I'll say we'll change this name to only, and then juniper cedar is going to equal only juniper cedar. Looks like we've got two of these. Nope, just one. And we're going to specify we want the reading date, location, and the reading value. I'll rerun that and see what I got. Okay, I got a key error. It says location is not located in index. Well, because it's actually not all uppercase. So this needs to actually be okay, so we'll run this again. Okay, so now we can see the reading date, the location, and the value. And I think it kind of makes sense to maybe just filter out just east or west side. So we'll do this as well. We'll say so we're going to take juniper cedar and we're going to filter based on the location equal to east side. And then one for the west side, and we'll display this one, and we'll display the west one and see what we have. Okay, so we have the east side one, and then we have the west side one. And again, we don't need the east side and west side on that if we have that. So what we'll do is we'll take the result of this, and we can actually just put in here and basically we're saying, hey, we don't need the whole thing. We just need these two columns because, well, this is all east side. And so maybe what I'll do is I'll put a little prompt here. And run this. So we're saying, hey, take this, filter out all the east side ones, and then just give me the reading date and the reading value. And it looks like, yeah, here's the east side data, here's the west side data. It's got the date and then the value of our reading. So good. We've got two tables that we could probably graph, and so let's. I'm going to remove these old ones. So we're left with just what we've been working on. And now we want to make a plot of this. Well, we need to import a new library, and that library is the Matplotlib. So we're going to import pyplot from Matplotlib. I'll run that. And it looks like we don't have access to Matplotlib. So I need to bring this into my virtual environment. I'm going to go into here and add Matplotlib into my requirements. Open up a terminal. Activate my virtual environment and pip install -r. Make sure this is saved. And now it's grabbing Matplotlib, hopefully. So that library is installed. If we go back now to here and run my import statements again, let's see if it finds it now. Okay, so now we've imported our Matplotlib. The next thing we want to do is I'm going to go to the Matplotlib library, and I'm just going to play around with this tutorial here, which is Intro to PyPlot. And one of the first things we have is we have some numbers. We're going to plot it. And let's see what we get. And we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3 gets plotted, and or 1, 0, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4 gets plotted. So these numbers are here, and as we progress along the x, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 are the index numbers of that list. So we get this plot. If I were to change these up a little bit and run it again, we can see now as we progress from each index number, we get a different value. And so this changes up our curve by changing the numbers. So yes, we're plotting the numbers. We can also add a second series in here. And let's see what that does. So now we can see 1, 5 is plotted, 2, 2, 7, 4, and then 4, 6. So basically, now we have a plot that's plotting these as paired values, essentially. In fact, if I were to then do return back to my original, I end up with it coming back to the top, so I can actually draw pictures this way. Probably not the easiest way to draw pictures, but you get the idea. We can, and then if we change this to RO, we now have it as discrete points. So what does RO stand for? Well, if we go to the documentation, and specifically here we are in the documentation on the plot method, you can see here what the arguments are. And that string RO is, the O represents a circle marker, the R represents red. So let's say we want blue, and we want let's see, where's a nice we'll use a star marker. if I change this to blue and star, and run this, we now have stars, which are our markers. So you have a lot of control on how Matplotlib will display your information. You have to read through the documentation. But now let's see if we can figure out how to plot one of these data frames. And so what we want is, initially, let's just plot the reading values. And remember, so if I were to say print and we'll take the east values, and I were to put in, what do I want? I want the reading value. Let's see what that gives me. And it says it wasn't defined, so I need to rerun these, all these. So I'm going to just run all, make sure that everything's run, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, so now we can see that I can just pull out this one value and I get a list of numbers. Well, let's see. If I provide a single sequence, what we saw was and we can just provide one series. So let's see what happens. Can we do that with this? So let's add code. I'm going to paste what we had, and I'm going to just put in here, oops, this series. So remember, we put a key value, we put a column name into our data frame, we get back just that series. So let's see what happens if we just plot that series. And it looks like we got all of our plots. Now it's based on the index number, but this does look like we are getting, we can see the for juniper and cedar what this looks like, and you can see we have certain days where it's really bad, and then for a good portion of the time it's not so bad. So there are blooms to happen at particular times, and now this may not be an accurate view, because if we don't anchor this on time, well, we don't know what we need. These readings may not be evenly distributed. They might. Let's see, if we look at our data, are these on a daily basis? They do look like they're on a daily basis, but there's some gaps here. And so we probably want those to be pulled out evenly. So maybe what we'll do is we'll bring in the reading date as well. And so what happens if I put in that, and then juniper, cedar, east, and include the reading date. Oh, I guess I brought in, I should do, to see the series, I could do this. I really didn't need to do this. So now we're going to put both the series in for X and Y, and let's see what this does. Okay, so this did run, but it's not exactly the way we want to look at it. First of all, this is hard to read. And secondly, it doesn't seem to be in...
So, what's the secret? How have you guys made it work so long?
in the right order. So let's swap these out. So I'm going to take this one and put it in front of it. And see how that changes it. Okay, much better. Still can't read the dates down here. And so there's a couple things we could do. We could maybe reduce the scale, and or we could reduce the number that we're displaying, or we could change how this date goes. We probably need to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to, there's a massive number of points in here. There's 8,000 some odd points. So maybe what I'll do is reduce my instruction set here. So what I've done here is I've taken the reading date, and originally it wasn't it was a string, but I need to have this reading date actually be a date time. You can do that in Pandas by using they have these conversion functions, and basically what you're doing is you're taking a data series, converting it to a new type, date time, and then reassigning it back into that data series so that it basically replaces the existing string date field with a datetime field. So now this is a little bit more useful. And so what we could do now is, let's see if I look at my dates here. Maybe we'll pick ones that are in 2000, or we'll go up to 2009. So we'll pick them in 2005, say. So okay, so we want to filter out just 1 year's worth of data. So I'm going to print the data frame as it is right now. So let's look at Juniper Cedar East. And you can see we've got everything from 2004 to 2009. Let's filter out everything greater than 2005. So we'll say Juniper East. We're going to put a filter in here. And we're going to say and we're going to look at the reading date. And such that it's greater than 2005 0101. So the first day of January. Let's see what that yields. Okay, so we can see now we have greater than 2005, but we want to filter out everything greater than greater than 2006. So we've got so that we just get 2005's data. Well, the way we can do that is right here. We're going to make this. We're going to use some parentheses to evaluate that. Then we're going to put an AND operator. And so it's got to be both greater than that, and we can take the same logic here, and less than and I'm just going to change that to 2006. And let's run that and see what we get. Okay, so now we have all 2005 data. And so I'm just going to sign this into a variable and say Juniper Cedar East 2005 is equal to this result. I probably should have done this at the beginning. And let's see if that worked. Okay, so we've got our 2005 data, and now what we can do is we can use that to make a plot. So we're going to use make the plot the same way we did up here. Is that the right one? Yes. Only we're now going to apply it to this new filtered data we have. And so let's see what our plot looks like now. So, okay, now we've got a little bit more visible plot. We can see the dates a little bit here, and we have a smaller piece of data. And we notice that those spikes seem to happen in a particular part of the year. So that's interesting. So I think I'm going to try rotating these labels. And so we need to look at the documentation, and we can see here X label. Let's see what that says. Set the label for the x-axis. And that looks like the overall label. I don't think that that's what we want, but we'll give that a try to see what it does. And yeah, you can see Y label. So if I said plot dot X label, that would be date. This really should be pollen count. And then we'll run that again, see what we get. And so we see here, there's pollen count. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. These dates are still not very readable. So it looks like it's something else we need to find. So we're going to go back and dig through here. Let's see, Y ticks and X ticks. Let's see what that means. Get or set the current tick locations and labels of the x-axis. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So list of tick locations and then labels. The labels to place a given tick locations can be pass and then minor and then arguments. So let's see, what do we have? Oh, rotating custom tick labels. Let's see what that does. That's what we want, is we want to rotate those. And let's see how they do it. X labels. Let's see, labels is, okay, it's this. And rotations equals vertical. And then let's see, X 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think we could do this. Plot dot x ticks rotation equals, let's see if we just do this, if this will work. Okay, now it looks like we've got something that's actually readable. There's the month. Interestingly, it looks like we may need to adjust how we're filtering things because we've got 2006, but we don't have the first beginning year here. But what we do have is a chart that actually kind of shows us what's going on. It looks like around March timeframe is when the pollen count is really bad. And so we could fix that. We need to get rid of 2006-01 and include the one below it. So let's see what that would be. So maybe what we do is go from 2004 or maybe we could do it this way. Let's put less than or equal here. And then less than or equal to 2005. And let's see, so December 31st. Let's run that and see what we get. Okay, I think we're getting good information on the top end here, but we're still not getting the January dates. So maybe what we can do is make this greater than 2004 12/31 and see if that picks up what we want. So I think what we have is we may not have any January data. in here. So that's okay. We'll just run it with that, and that's probably the data that we have. Maybe they didn't collect it, or maybe I am missing 2001 with the way I'm running my filter. But I think we've demonstrated that how we can create a chart and create some understanding of what's going on, and every chart's going to be different, and you're going to have to dig through Matplotlib's documentation to shape your data and to make it to make it work. So that there's pretty good documentation here. You can dig through here. They've got examples that show you how to make different kinds of plots, and you just have to experiment with it to get the plot to be what you're looking for. So in any case, that's how you use Matplotlib along with Pandas. Use Pandas to filter out your data for what you want to make a plot to use for a plot, and then use Matplotlib to basically turn it into the plot you want to show what you want to show with your data. In any case, thank you very much.